The top story this hour: some opposition political parties express concern over intimidation and security issue. And Tanzanian President John Magufuli passed away. A very warm welcome to Addis News. I'm Solomon Danye. Thanks for joining me. Various opposition political parties have complained on the process of candidates' registration. The National Electoral Board of Ethiopia, for its part, said it has received more than 500 complaints in connection with the candidacy registration process. The board held discussion with opposition political parties for a common understanding.
The National Electoral Board of Ethiopia has held discussions with various registered opposition political parties regarding candidates' registration, ballot paper lotto system, and debate preparation. On the occasion, some political parties complained over the detention of their members and closure of offices.
In southern Ethiopia, Gamozon Prosperity Party is intimidating our members after they have registered as candidates. Our members are still in threat and pushed to resign from their candidacy. We ask the board to take proactive actions like the previous.
There were confusions regarding the rights of civil servants to participate in the elections, and misinformation was spreading, but we have corrected them. There is nothing to stop a government employee from running in the elections. An employee can take a leave from his office and make campaign. Any pressure from the government forcing any political party to leave their job is unacceptable. If we get accurate information on such government structures, we will take serious measures.
The current situation in Benishangul Gumuz, Matakkal zone is very difficult to undertake political activities. The transport service is already stopped and our offices are closed. We are very concerned as the area is under command post. How the electoral board intends to resolve the problem.
It was obvious that such challenges would face us when we started voters' registration, but there will be many alternatives. For example, we will register the displaced people where they live within their constituency, but this will be decided according to the command post. We are looking at this complicated case seriously.
On the other hand, the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia announced that the sequence of the candidates on the ballot paper will be determined by lottery system. This helps to make the election process transparent and credible, Burtukan added. Some political parties complained over frequent arrest of their party members and the closure of their offices, despite the board addressed over 500 complaints.
As Ethiopia finds itself repulsing external interference in its domestic affairs, TPLF's diaspora agents have openly rejected the African Union's initiative to find a peaceful solution to the problem in Tigray. Paradoxically, TPLF's fugitive leader, Ethiopian, has hinted that his side was offered a potential opportunity to address the African Union Peace and Security Council on the current situation in Ethiopia. That's according to a leaked document published by Ethiopian Digest. Emmanuel Jorge takes it from here.
Using the camouflage of Association of Tigrayan Diaspora in Europe, TPLF agents lashed out at the African Union, saying behaviors of the past few months have taught them a bitter lesson who this organization is in favor. Deliberately denigrating the continental body by using its former name OAU, the diaspora agents accused it of not working to alleviate the misery of the people. Its deeds, the diaspora said, are to the contrary enriching dubious leaders hanging on using the barrels of the guns as a means. Meanwhile, a leaked document suggests that the outlawed TPLF leader Ethiopian is hoping to address the AU's peace and security, while his agents are busy showing the world how inefficient the AU has been.
Dr. Debretsion Gebremichael has hinted that his side was offered a potential opportunity to address the African Union Peace and Security Council on the current situation in Ethiopia.
While one wing of the TPLF praises the likes of the USA for taking its destructive side, the other uses former government employees and Western experts in a sophisticated digital campaign aimed at defaming the AU. The Diaspora Association blamed Musa Faki Muhammad, the chair of the AU Commission, for declaring the conflict in Tigray as an act of law and order enforcement. The association said thank you for the AU's initiative to help ease the situation in Tigray, but said no thank you, declaring the continental body as Abiy's ally. The leaked document, however, thanks the AU for allowing it to explain the situation in Tigray. TPLF's operation abroad consists of a machinery of foreign experts and loyalists toiling on behalf of the group responsible for well-documented human rights abuses against the Ethiopian people. Going further, it appears these foreign TPLF members sitting comfortably in London and Dublin are leading the TPLF's external lobbying strategy, thereby ensuring the continuation of the conflict on the ground. The leaked document is further proof that these women and a cohort of other Western experts based abroad are not only on the front line of the TPLF digital campaign, but also the brains behind the movement.
The Ethiopian Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Energy confirms that the country will execute the second filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam as per schedule. The Minister Engineer Silashi Bakala on the symposium organized to mark the 10th year anniversary of the commencement of the dam said the filling of the dam will by no means be postponed. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Demeke Mekonnen on the occasion asserted that finalizing the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is a matter of sovereignty. Here is Emmanuel Joki again for the report.
It has been almost 10 years since Ethiopia embarked on the construction of the much disputed Africa's largest hydropower dam. As the dam reaches 79% of its construction stage, Egypt and Sudan are still raising concerns regarding its construction. Believing in what it is doing, Ethiopia continues to execute the construction of the dam despite external outcries. In a symposium organized to mark the 10th year anniversary of the commencement of the dam, Minister of Water, Irrigation and Energy Silashi Bakala confirmed that the country will carry out the second filling of the dam as per its own schedule.
The construction of the dam is under a very careful execution and follow-up. The construction stage by its nature demands the second filling of the dam by the coming rainy season. So there is no way that we will postpone the filling. It is technically impossible.
Speaking on the occasion, Deputy Prime Minister Demeke Mekonnen for his part asserted that completing the dam is a matter of protecting the country's sovereignty.
Utilizing the Abai River and completing the construction of the dam should be considered as a matter of protecting the country's sovereignty. Ethiopia contributes 86% or 77 billion cubic meters of the Nile water, so no earthly power will deny its right to properly utilize its own river water.
It is stated on the occasion that 79% of the overall construction of the $4.6 billion mega dam has been completed so far. The symposium's objective was to explore the current status of the dam and the ongoing trilateral negotiations between Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan.
The Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it has employed personnel to investigate the dates of Ethiopian migrants in one of the detention centers in Yemen's capital, Sana'a. Kasan Jani reports.
In an exclusive interview with BBC English, Ethiopia's Foreign Affairs spokesperson and Public Diplomacy Director General Ambassador Dina Mufti confirmed that over 40 Ethiopian migrants who were stranded in Yemen's prison have lost their lives when fire broke out in one of the detention centers in the capital, Sana'a. The ambassador said it was very difficult to pull out the dead bodies of Ethiopian citizens from the blaze.
There was an explosion. There was in the prison in Yemen, where Ethiopian nationals had been affected. There were deaths and serious injuries as well. I think with the cooperation of the Ethiopian communities there and fellow donors, it was very difficult to pull out the dead bodies out of Sana'a. And yesterday, I think those who passed away have been buried. Otherwise, from Aden, the coming Tuesday, the Ethiopia is planning to evacuate 175 of them. And definitely with this serious process of evacuations, definitely Ethiopians will get a relief.
The government has deployed staff members of the Ethiopian embassy in Oman, as there was no Ethiopian embassy in Yemen, and is closely working to conduct an investigation into the tragic accident.
Otherwise, from day one, after this incident, the Ethiopian embassy in Oman, as you know, we don't have an embassy in Sana'a. Our embassy in Oman, in Muscat, is the one which is taking care of the situation in Sana'a. Our embassy, under the leadership of the ministry, had been following up the situation there. That situation, that follow-up has continued to date. And all stranded Ethiopians, all affected Ethiopians definitely will get a relief very soon. Otherwise, the ones who passed away had been buried yesterday with the cooperation of the donor agencies and the Ethiopian residing in that part of the country.
The ambassador further warned that Ethiopians should not take audacious decisions to go to Yemen where conflict is rife. It was a pity to have seen Ethiopians taking risks there while the government is trying to repatriate citizens who are languishing with agony in the jails of foreign countries. Ethiopia's Foreign Affairs spokesperson and Public Diplomacy Director General expressed sorrow and deep regret Wednesday over the deaths.
This is Addis News Hour. President Saleh Zewde attended the launching of the 50 Million African Women Speak networking platform project. Senior officials from the Ethiopian government and the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa (COMESA) member states attended the launching event held virtually. The project aims to facilitate a dynamic and engaging exchange of ideas among women entrepreneurs using inbuilt social media functionality to connect them with one another. It fosters peer-to-peer learning, monitoring, and information and knowledge sharing within communities and access to financial services and market opportunities between urban and rural areas and across borders and between countries. On business, university scholars suggest the need to have solid institutional system and increase production to manage the soaring inflation in the country. According to economic experts, Ethiopia should meet its trade balance to ease living cost. Kasan Jani had the detail.
High living cost remains to be a headache to many Ethiopians where prices of goods and services rise from time to time. Economic experts suggest the need to introduce solid institutional system to help handle it. Considering the significant contribution of export trade for the country's wide-ranging growth, balancing the trade transaction should be given a priority area, the experts noted. Scholars who indicated the huge gap between import and export of the country's sought, lack of competitiveness in the international market, laying products expecting better prices and imbalance between global and local prices are among the challenges the export sector faces.
production foundation institution
The government should be capable of working on the foundation, production, established institutions, and there must be a system to address challenges. There must also be a plan to create awareness. We might be able to suffer for a short period, but within a long time ahead, we should be able to plan to establish a strong institutional system and increasing productivity. The government must work on the soft and hard infrastructures. Directly when the government improves pieces of goods and services within a short time, it is not advisable and productive as such. So, I believe that the government ought to carry out its maximum efforts, as we see in the industrial parks. This enables to manage the import and export market and striving to plan that participating in the private sector and maximizing competitiveness.
A scholar at the Ethiopian Civil Service University on his part stated that the government should set a strong policy to lead the market properly with supply and demand to manage the cost of living throughout the nation.
Traders usually hold it and create a high cost of living. Therefore, the government should put forward its greatest effort to manage the market considering the demand and supply sides, crafting brawny policies and strategies. Controlling those traders who participate in the economic sabotage should be the next measure to stabilize the market.
The value of Ethiopia's currency notes in the international market also matters according to the experts.
Ethiopian ambassador to Rwanda, Lulit Zodi, shared Ethiopia's investment and tourism opportunities with Rwandans, recalling the common interest of the two countries. The ambassador said Ethiopia's vision to become among the top 100 countries in World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report. More than 80 important reforms have been implemented since the national initiative to improve Ethiopia's ease of doing business was launched 2 years ago, she noted. As part of the wider economic reforms, she said a remarkable decision had been passed by the government to partially privatize some of the major public enterprises, mainly railways, telecommunications, hydropower and sugar corporation, among others. And finally, Tanzanian President Magufuli, who died at the age of 61, ran a campaign to end corruption, but his legacy will be tainted because he was one of Africa's most prominent COVID-19 deniers. Emmanuel Jorge has more from TRT World.
He was known as the bulldozer for his single-minded campaign to ending corruption and misuse of government funds. But critics say John Pombe Magufuli's biggest mistake was using the same tactic in the battle against COVID-19.
There are some Tanzanians who recently travelled abroad in search of coronavirus vaccines. These people brought the virus into our country when they returned. Let us stand firm. This vaccine is not good at all.
These comments were a step down from his earlier calls for more prayer gatherings to stop the virus. Ironically, Magufuli began his professional career as a high school science teacher before switching to politics in the 1990s. He came into the international spotlight after being elected president in 2015 in a tightly contested election. Magufuli had campaigned on an anti-corruption and economic recovery platform, the immediate launch of austerity measures as his term began, as well as a crackdown on corruption helped speed up the country's economic recovery. This earned him public goodwill and many new supporters. Tanzania's continued economic progress and relative stability in a region mired in conflict meant the public ignored much of his eccentric behavior. They even put a stamp of approval on it in the latest election in 2020, despite Mr. Magufuli holding public gatherings with no social distancing and scoffing at the pandemic.
The election is finally over. What is important now is that people start focusing on building the economy of our country. I want to assure you, my fellow Tanzanians, both the oaths I and my Vice President took to respect the constitution of our country. We shall make sure we respect and protect it, no matter the cost.
But the pandemic was closing in, and several senior politicians died or became sick with coronavirus-like symptoms. Magufuli was one of few African leaders to refuse a lockdown or curfew, saying the country couldn't afford it, but for some Tanzanians, his decision has cost them their lives.
Before we go, a reminder of our top stories. Some opposition political parties expressed concern over intimidations and security issues. And Tanzanian President John Magufuli passed away. Well, that's it for the news. For me, Solomon Daniel and the rest of the English team here in the studio. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.